This is the time of year when spring planting and South American harvest dominate our agricultural markets. The big news affecting us is a move made by the government of Argentina.
Joining us for this week's Bottom Line is Neil Melancon. And Neil, I understand that we've got some big changes with Argentina here recently.
You know, normally when elections like this happen, it doesn't change much, but they did have a major change, and it's one of the few times where we can really see a huge difference. For the last 8 years, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner was the president of Argentina, succeeding her husband Nestor, who declined re-election in 2007 and then died in 2010. Now, this may sound familiar, an echo of Eva Perón succeeding her husband Juan, made famous, of course, by the musical Evita. In fact, Kirchner was part of the same political party as Perón, which has been in power for more than 70 years. However, this past November, Kirchner was term limited out, and in the election, the opposition party candidate, Mauricio Macri, won. Aside from the historic change, within a month after Macri was elected, he eliminated the export tariffs on corn, wheat, as well as dropping 5 percentage points off the export tax on soybeans. I'm going to give you the bottom line a little early here. In the month after these taxes were dropped, grain exports from Argentina jumped 57%. If you're counting, that percentage jump is almost the same as the export taxes were cut. It's interesting but not surprising, as Argentinian grains are now competing on the world market stage on an even level, just like their South American neighbors do. And guys, it's kind of a mixed blessing here because, we can see the real good effects of, getting rid of taxes on agricultural exports, but all of that gets dumped on the world market, which we also have to compete with. Now Argentina is a big competitor. And the big thing is I do see a advantage that Argentina did have in having these export taxes because it kept the grain in country. And for these developing nations, it feeds poor people and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a mixed blessing, but it is interesting to see that, when you cut the taxes on one side, the exports just shoot right up on the other.
And I know you follow the markets very closely. Was there any sudden adjustment there as soon as that grain came into the world market?
Well, it's just that time of year when the markets are kind of depressed because South American harvest is coming on. But what I think we may see is a longer period of that because of course we're going to have a greater volume. When I was in Argentina in 2012, that's, these taxes were all they could talk about. And the big thing there that we saw was that there may be even more grain that farmers have kept in reserve, because they're not, they haven't wanted to sell it, nor did they want to sell it at those cheap prices on the domestic market. So they just stored all of that kind of stuff, and now they may just dump it all in one big, pile to get whatever money they can out of.
We'll have to see how that impacts all of our farmers here. Thank you very much, Neil Melancon. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll show you something that could save your life, grain bin safety, on the next TWILA.
Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.